Good morning, everyone. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. My name is Carrington, and welcome back to another video. Or if this is your first time here and you enjoy talking about old makeup, new makeup, shop my stashes, empties, using up makeup, project pans, hauls, makeup, non-makeup hauls, all things beauty, as well as we sprinkle in some true crime here and there, then you are definitely going to want to hit that subscribe button, click the little bell, as well if this is not your first time here and you have been here quite a few times, maybe 100 times, 50 times, 10 times, 2 times, however many times, and you still have not yet hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do so. It's a good time here. Keep coming back. Obviously, you really do like this dumpster fire, dumpster fire, dumpster fire. So let's go ahead and let's get into today's video. Alright, so in today's video, I'm going to talk about my favorite things that either I have tried this year or maybe used a lot this year and found out that I absolutely fell in love with these products. I easily could have added more to the pile, but I wanted to keep this kind of concise. So in the event you're like, yeah, I really like a lot of the things you recommend. Maybe you've gone out and bought some things I've recommended. I really wanted to keep this kind of fine and concise so that a way you guys could go out and purchase these items. Let me just say, it's still a lot. I still feel like it's a lot, but I think I did a pretty good job of narrowing it down. So if you guys are excited to see what I picked for my top of the top makeup products, then definitely keep on watching. I'm going to first start off with Give Me Glow. I'm going to start off with a couple of eyeshadow palettes first. Of course, there will be other eyeshadow palettes sprinkled in throughout. I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of videos talking about eyeshadow palettes, but let's go ahead and let's start off with Give Me Glow. So this one that I'm talking about is probably one of my favorite things. Came as a shock to me because if you know, I do love a lot of Give Me Glow products. Now, I wouldn't say this is like my all-time favorite palette, but I think that it's so incredibly good that it needs to be mentioned. And that's going to be the Grunge palette. So, my eyes are very small. They are hooded. They are downturned. As you can tell, I just don't have a lot of lid space. So I was a little bit nervous about this palette, mainly because darker shades can make my eyes look even smaller. And this is filled with basically nothing but small shade or darker shades. So I, of course, wanted to go ahead and try this out. I got so many compliments every time I make a look using this palette, and there's literally only 2 shimmers. There is a lighter and a deeper. There's more, more champagne, more gold. So that's it. That's all I have to use to really open up my eyes are these 2 shimmers. And so I was just really nervous that this was going to be a little bit too deep, too dark, and my eyes were just going to look very closed and it was going to go overboard really quick. Let me tell you, every single time I wear this palette, and I get a wide variety of looks, but every time I wear this palette, I get compliments. And I have people always asking me, what palette is that? Where did you get that palette? How did you create that look? Every single time that I use this, which is just, it's wild to me because I was the most nervous about this, but this actually turned out to be one of my favorite palettes. I did a video where I ranked the Give Me Glow palettes. I will definitely link that down below, but this was definitely one of my top palettes, which is wild to me that this was one of my top palettes. I figured I would have liked this probably more closer to the very bottom, if not the bottom, just based on the shades that were selected for this palette. This is a beautiful palette. It is not hard to go, a little bit too overboard, but it definitely does have that pigment that's there. I think the 2 shimmers that they did select go really good together or really good separately. I like how you can do some more of neutrals. You could definitely do some pinky purple grunge. You can add some black in to make it a little bit more smoky. You could do like an all matte look with this being on the lid. I think there's just so much variety and so many great looks that you can get with this palette that when I was like talking about like the top things that I love this year that I tried, this had to be on there. I knew that it did. Just because of all the qualities that this palette has, it is absolutely beautiful. I think we all know what I'm going to be talking about next from Give Me Glow, just based on the rankings that I always do. But that's going to be the Give Me Glow singles. Like, these two are not Give Me Glows, but these giant ones are Give Me Glow singles. Okay. Wow is all I can really say about the singles. They have such a wide variety of singles. I own probably over I own all of their singles, actually. So I own every last one of their singles. Why is there a tractor in my yard? Okay, anyways, I own all of their singles. And the mattes are just so pigmented, so buttery, and their shimmers are beautiful. I mean, look at that. But I think the one thing, yeah, I mean, those are good, that I love the most about these is that they are such good quality. You get extremely large pan sizes, as I'm sure you could tell. You get large pan sizes. You get such a wide variety that you can make a palette, any palette that you could want, any color story that you could want with the singles. Whereas with the palettes, I feel like it's, you know, a curated color story that you may or may not like. But you can get one of these like really compact. I think this one holds like 12 or 9. This one either holds 12 or 9 of their Give Me Glow shadows, and you can make whatever color story you want. It can be matte heavy, it can be shimmer heavy, it could be half and half. You could do a colorful, a rainbow palette, you could do more neutral, you could be warm tones, cool tones. Like, they have something for everybody, and just the quality is incredible. So I would say if you are kind of iffy about Give Me Glow, maybe the prices might scare you a little bit, and you're just like, I don't know if I'm going to love all of the shades in the palette, make yourself a curated little palette. They're sometimes like somewhere between like $6 to $8 for their singles, unless you get like the mystery, or no, they're not mysteries. They're like considered toppers, but they're duochromes. They have like amazing shifts, multi-chrome duochromes. And they have some really pretty shifts. And those are more like $12 to $15, depending on which one you get. But I feel like that definitely gives you so much variety that you may not necessarily get in the palettes. And I think that they do such a good job with eyeshadow formulas. All right, so let's move away from Give Me Glow and let's go ahead and let's move into Nomad. I've only tried one thing from Nomad, but it is mind-blowing and I love it. If you are somebody who loves like grungy, spooky, like as you can tell, like the packaging in itself is kind of has some like spooky vibes to it. If you enjoy that, you're going to enjoy this palette. And that's one thing I love from the packaging inside to the color story. You get quite the assortment. You get some oranges, you get some gray tones, some cool tone purples, some like greens, and they are so soft and buttery, and really they do an incredible job. I mean, that shimmer is beautiful. That matte, I mean, they're so good. This is so good. I think this is definitely one of my favorite palettes. I really do love like grungy, spooky-esque kind of vibes. In the pans, you get like spider webs, forests, gravestones, castles. You get all kinds of things. The background is beautiful. You have a large size mirror. Again, the packaging, I think this is definitely one of my favorite palettes. The quality is there. But if you're maybe not somebody that really is into like spooky, grungy kinds of a thing, but you know somebody that is, they're not going to be disappointed in this palette. This is definitely probably one of the best things that I've tried this year. So now we're going to move on into Alien Cosmetics. I did try out a couple of Alien Cosmetics, but it's this palette right here, the Not Normal, that literally just keeps gripping at my heart, pulling at my heartstrings, I guess you could say. This is so good. You have some greens, you have some purples, you have some neutrals, you have some yellows. Like, you just have like so many different directions that you can go with this palette. I created a look. I've created multiple looks, but I created one here on my channel, and let me tell you, chef's kiss, so good. It's much like Give Me Glow, where like they're so soft and like shiny, and the mattes are like so pigmented. It's so good. The artwork is so good as well. They're not called Alien Cosmetics anymore, so if you go to search for like these like types of palettes or anything, you will need to go to unearthlycosmetics.com. That's what their new name is. They had to do a rebranding, but I feel like they kill it with packaging, and their formula just gets me. And they have so many different color combinations, so I feel like you can find something for you. This is definitely my favorite one, hands down. They did do the Hauntingly Glamorous that I've tried, and I do like that. I think that's a good palette, but like I find like nothing can really top this in terms of the other palettes that they have done. But the quality is so good. This is definitely one of my like favorite and like best palettes that I got to try this year. All right, let's just kind of jump into like a random assortment of some high-end products that I really do enjoy. So the first is going to be this Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. Okay, this is so good. I love the way that it smells. It definitely smells like nice and fresh. This is a new one. I used up, this is like my third one, I'm pretty sure. I've used up a mini, and I feel like this is like my, yeah, this is my second purchase of the big one. This is worth every last penny. If you have dry, dehydrated skin and you need something that's going to really sink into that skin and make it feel hydrated, this is it. This is so good. I feel like not a lot of people give this enough credit. I know it's a little bit expensive. It's like $63. Okay, so I was kind of like, as well, like a little bit like, step on the brakes, you know, kind of like that. But I can't deny this is so good. This is something that I will definitely be repurchasing. This is something I definitely need in my collection during the winter. My skin gets unholy dry, like dry. I'm talking like mummified, King Tut dry, okay? That man's been mummified for a long time. So he's got to be dry. So a mummified King Tut is literally what my skin feels like, but with this, doesn't. This is so incredible. Definitely if you are a dry skin gal, or maybe like the winter, your skin definitely feels a little bit more drier and you're needing a little bit of hydration on your face, I honestly have not been able to find anything better than this. I know there is like the First Aid Beauty, you know, Intense Ultra Repair Skin Cream. I don't really like to use that as a primer. I do feel like I like to use that more as like a nice moisturizer and let that sink into the skin before I put on makeup or at night, depending on when I really need it. But if I'm talking like a primer, this is it for me. This is so good. Another thing that I got to try this year that I love is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. I have mine in like the lightest shade that you can get, and even then, like, that's a little deep for me. But I love the glow that this gives. I don't feel like it adds like extra hydration. So I feel like if you're like, so I'm dry skinned, obviously, we've talked about this. I feel like even if you are dry, even if you are oily, I don't feel like this adds a ton of hydration. I feel like just the formula itself, whatever is in this formula, I'll dab a little bit on, makes your skin feel or look more hydrated than it is. Like, do you see how like hydrated my hand looks now? But when I'm touching it, I don't really feel that it's any more hydrated or any less hydrated than the side that has nothing. I think it's just whatever is in this formula really gives that extra glow. So I really do enjoy this to put on. Sometimes I really like to like, you know, sometimes I'll put on something light, like I'll throw on like a skin tint, and I want like a little bit of like a nice glow to like the high points of my face, and I'll just dab this on, and it gives that extra glow of like that added, like lit from within, you're beautiful, you're gorgeous, darling, like that kind of a thing. Does that make sense? Am I making any sense? If I feel like once, like I was not going to pay $52 for this, okay? Like, let me just say I was that person that was like, I am not spending $52 on this. Okay, well then I was like, all right, fine, you know what? I'll buy it. Okay, like I'll buy it. And now I'm like, wow, this was probably one of the best purchases that I made in 2021. I said it. One of the best purchases I made in 2021. On to the Charlotte Tilbury theme. I think this came out in like 2019 or 2020, something like that. I can't remember for sure, but I bought it at the very, very beginning of 2021. And this is the Airbrush Flawless Finish Skin Perfecting Micro Powder in One Fair. This is so good, especially to like set your under eyes. But like, I have hit pan. It takes me such a long time to use up a powder. I'm going to be honest, I don't even know if I've used up a like setting powder. Just because I don't use a whole lot of setting powder. Like I'm really focusing it on my under eyes. Sometimes I'll set a little bit more on my cheeks just depending on what's on it. But other than that, like it's mostly my under eyes. And the fact that I started this in 2021 and I have hit pan tells you a lot. Tells you all there is to know about this powder. It is so good. This is one I will definitely keep repurchasing. I love this, especially for special occasions. If you are wanting something that is going to make your skin look how it says, flawless, for like a very special event, and you're like, I need a powder that's just going to be there for the special event. I don't, you know, I use a lot of powder, so I don't want to buy something expensive that I'm going to, like, you know, use every day. I'd want to buy something expensive and have it be for, like, special occasions. This is it. If you're like, I'm willing to pay full price and expensive powder to use every day, this is it. I love this. When I start getting on this kick of, like, wearing this, I have to force myself to stop using this. I have to tell myself, Carrington, get it together. You have other powders in your collection that need some love and attention, that you need to hit pan on, that you need to take your time with, that you need to get it together. So here's me like, okay, I need to get it together. But I would probably get rid of almost all of my other powders and keep this if I could, which technically I could. Like, it's my makeup collection. Like, I can do whatever I want, right? But this is one like I would just keep repurchasing and reusing. I do have some others that I love, like the Maybelline Fit Me. Love that as well. I think that's a great drugstore powder, especially if you have dry skin. But this is probably one of the best things. Again, it's like that, like the last product. Hollywood Flawless Filter, right? One of the best purchases that I made in 2021. So this next product, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of a lot of blew me away. I did not think I was going to like this, and honestly, I was not going to purchase this. Okay, I'm just gonna say that right now. I was 100% against purchasing this, but I had seen some people that had oily skin say they hated it, and people with dry skin say they loved it. So I was like, you know what, I'll buy it to try it, but I'm not holding my breath. It's a good purchase. And that is the Too Faced Born This Way Matte Foundation. This is definitely not my shade. I will tell you that. Like, I really have to like work it down the neck or something, or not use a whole lot of it or whatever. But for me, having dry skin, if I set my base up really nicely, and I would like something that looks a little bit more velvety on the skin instead of glowy like I normally prefer, this is good. This is so good. I can't really attest to how good this would be depending on what your base is like for oily skin. But what I can say is if you have dry skin, definitely make sure you wash your face, moisturize well. And then make sure you are using hydrating primers. Don't use a mattifying primer. Don't use, other types of primers that might sink into the skin and be a little bit more mattifying. Like use like the Bobbi Brown Enriched Face Base and like the Tarte for your teeth, or not the Tarte, the Tatcha for like your skin. T-zone. That's what it's called. Your T-zone. Wow. All right. So make sure you're using that. But this, so good. Next up are two high-end highlighters. And the first is going to be the Ofra with Steph Tom's Milk and Cookies. Okay. Let me just say, I have never, ever tried anything from Ofra. Ofra. Why does that sound like what I'm saying is not English? It's Ofra. But it sounds weird in my mind. Like in my brain, I'm just like, why does this not sound correct? Something doesn't sound correct. All right. Right? Here's this. This side can be a little bit dark for me, so I can use that as an inner corner. But the milk side, I'm going to go with this as the milk side and this is the cookie side, okay? I already have highlight on, okay? But I'm just going to take, all right, just a little bit. I'm just like, what is going on right now with this highlighter? Do you see that added glow? If you're somebody you don't want to glow from, to space and have the aliens come and abduct you, fine, this isn't going to be a highlighter for you. But now I'm just kind of like kicking myself, like, why did I wait so long to try Ofra? Especially Ofra highlighters. Like, why did I wait so long? Like, what am I doing? And now I have this. I've used it. I know this came out like early 2021. I have this. I used it. And I'm like, wow. Wow. Okay. What? Like on those days when I'm just like going out there beaming. And I want that like, wow, like that, like, I don't know, that wet, lubricated, all up in your grill. I don't know if I'm making any sense. Anyways, whatever it is. This is good. Okay, next up, I even hate myself for saying this is good. I'm just going to say this now. I hate myself for saying this is good because it's like, why are my dogs out there having undue? Okay. I hate myself for saying this is so good. Like, I am sitting here like, why? Pat McGrath Skin Fetish Sublime Skin Highlighter in Lunar Nude. Okay, first of all, the embossing is cute. Alright, but I can get over pretty packaging or pretty embossing if something's really expensive and I don't feel like is really worth the money. Okay, but I bought this because I'm just going to try this out. I love this. I love the formula. It doesn't really emphasize any of my texture. And I definitely do have, like you can kind of tell here, I definitely have some texture. I don't feel like it overly emphasizes it. I hate myself for this. This is such a good highlighter. And so here's me just kind of sitting here like, my hair's starting to get some growth back, thank goodness. But I hate myself for saying that, like, this is so good. This is so good. Like, ugh. I hate myself for being like, this is so good. Because it is. It's so good. Ugh, it is so good. All right, so let's talk about some affordable drugstore type categories. First off, I'm going to start off with this Makeup Revolution, the Soph X Glow Highlighter Palette. Mine is in Sugar Frosting. So I have two types of tones. You have like one that's a little bit lighter and one's a little bit deeper, but I find that they both work decently for my skin tone. Okay, here's the thing. I don't like a lot from Makeup Revolution. So I, Soph had said she was coming out with something. I watched her reveal video and I was like, oh man, that collection looks so good. And here's me like, well, I mean, she's making it look really good, right? I was disappointed in almost all of the other products, but this is good. I love this highlighter duo. This is probably one of the best, if not the best things to ever come from Makeup Revolution. And the thing is I have the Makeup Revolution Soph X highlighting palette, right? That's not that great. That's not that good. There's a couple of shades in there that are good. There's a lot in there that's not. So if I'm mentioning like Makeup Revolution and my favorite end of the year 2021 favorites, like all-time favorites for this year, this has to be good, right? Like it has to be damn good, because I'm going to mention some fails in another video and I hate those. But this was good. And let me see, where's my little highlighting brush? Here. So I'm going to take, the lightest shades that they have. And just let's just start right here. I know my face is going to be like all over the place, but I mean, like, do you see that? Do you see just like how glowy? I'm beaming right now, okay? I know, I can hear you guys be like, oh my God. But do you see like that glow that it gives? Like, holy mother Tostitos, pizza rolls, Papa John's, holy cramboli. Holy Stromboli. Like, this is good. Like, I'm shocked. If you never purchase anything else from Makeup Revolution and you purchase this, I will consider my job as an influencer complete, because there is nothing else from Makeup Revolution that I like. I have some things that I need to try from them, but so far there are a lot of misses and one hit, and this is one hit. This was such a good product and definitely one of my favorites in 2021. So next up is a rainbow palette, and that's going to be the ColourPop Fade into Hue. Alright, sometimes ColourPop does a really good job and sometimes they do a really terrible job, but I love this palette. I feel like this is such a good rainbow palette. And I think the thing that I like about the most is when I'm not wearing a lot of rainbows. I do like some pops of color, like as on my eyes today. It's more neutral, and then you have a pop of color on the lid. That's something that I really like. I like having more of like pops of color, more so than I like making like rainbow cut creases or, rainbow. Like, that's not something that I'm totally into. What I love about this is I could do something a little bit more rainbow-ish, but I like how like I could do like purples and peaches, but I also like how I can just go down this row or column. I could just go down this column and make it work. That's what I love, is that like each column you can just create really colorful looks and they turn out really beautiful. Or if you are creative and you want to like, do a ton of rainbows, I think they do a really good job. I think they did a really great job with this palette. There is definitely some kick up and some fallout with this palette, but I feel like for it being a rainbow palette, it's definitely really pigmented, really cohesive, works really well together. This was definitely probably one of my favorite palettes that released this year from ColourPop. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like there were some other good ones, like It's a Mood. That's really good. I didn't try the jewel tone one. I haven't tried like the all matte one. I'm not really for sure if I'm even gonna buy those. But I've tried like the Powerpuff Girls, and I've tried the Lizzie McGuire, and I've just tried a ton of other things. But this, to me, when I was like talking about, like when I was thinking of this idea, like the top best products that I bought and used in 2021, for whatever reason, I immediately thought of this. I used it for a solid month and I shot my stash. But I love how, like, if I want something colorful, like a pop of color on the lid, I can easily just pop this open. Like right here, I have like a pop of green on my lid, right? So let's like just add a little bit more of like a pop of green on my lid. I know you're probably like, Carrington, you started with a look and now here we are. But like, do you see that? Like just how much, so good. So good. It's one thing that like I love about this palette. It's just, you can just add a pop of color and just go wild with this palette. So good. Another thing from ColourPop, I haven't opened these yet, but I've gone through like a few of these, are the ColourPop Luxe Lip Oils. These are $8. These are so stupidly good. Okay, I honestly love these so much. Let me see if I can do something that in the center. I know, guys, listen, I should have done like a full face of like my favorites of 2021, but I didn't. Okay, but I love to have these at my desk at work, in my purse, in my vehicle, like no matter where I'm going. I love this. Like, I obviously have like a lip on right now. I could easily go over the top of this. I kind of did it in the center just to kind of lighten it a little bit in the center. You can do that, but a lot of times like I might be like going out to eat and this might all completely totally come off. So I like having this where I can just put this on, add a little bit of pop of color depending on what color you get, if you get one with a lot of color or not, whatever. And it's so hydrating. I especially love this like during the winter because of how hydrating it is. Love it. I think this is so good, and it's $8. And for $8 you get over 4.5 grams of product. I feel like these do last a really long time. They are hydrating. I'm so glad I bought some just to try, and now I'm hooked. I am hooked. To continue with the ColourPop theme, I literally just bought this and tried this, and I love this so much. So here are these little face quads that they come up with. This is just a flush cheek palette. This one has a highlighter, a bronzer, and 2 blushes. I know there's ones that have like 3 blushes and a highlighter. Okay, these are so good. Like, these are so good. And they're like $12, something like that. But I love like this bronzer. I think that bronzer works really, really good for my skin tone. I really love the 2 blush options. You have something that's a little bit more light and might be something good for like every day at the office, but then you can also pump it up, jam it up with this if you're going somewhere. And I think we can tell like the star of the show is this Super Shock highlighter in So Healthy. Okay, I can't remember if I've tried a lot of Super Shock shadows, but I'm gonna go with I haven't, or shadows, Super Shock highlighters. I'm gonna go with I haven't. You see how icy that is? Do you see how like bam in your face that is? I mean, look at that. I mean, just like look at that. That is like in your face. And so I tried this quad out. Whoop, let me like blend. So I had gotten this to like try it out, and I fell in love. These are so good. If you have never tried a Super Shock highlighter and you love like a super shocking highlighter, this is great. Even if it, the bronzer wasn't in here and it came with like another blush, maybe like a more glowy or healthy type blush, I would have been happy with that. I know a lot of them do, but I do like that I did get a bronzer as well. I think this is such a good quad, especially if you have like really fair skin. You guys, I feel like I'm just overdoing it with the highlighter at this point, but this is so good. Another highlighter, but it's not from ColourPop, is the Revlon Skin Lights. This is in Daybreak Glimmer. I think this came out towards the end of last year, but I didn't purchase it until sometime at the beginning of this year. But I have gotten a ton of use out of it. Like, do you see how much I have like used that? It's so good. It's very like creamy, like in your face. I really do like that. In a way, it kind of reminds me of the cookie highlighter from Benefit, but not anywhere near the cost. Much cheaper. I like that I can go and pick something up with like this good of quality at the drugstore for a cheap price. Like, I can just go into Walmart, be like, hey, I need a highlighter. I don't need any more of a highlighter today. But I can be like, oh man, I need a highlighter. Actually, you know what? I don't have an inner corner highlight. So like, let's just like pop that in there, shall we? Do you like see just how beautiful and just like glowy that is? Like right there. This is such a good highlighter. I really like that you can get this at the drugstore. Really good quality. I would say if you don't have a lot of highlighter And you don't want one maybe as in your face as the other ones. I feel like this one isn't quite as in your face. You can definitely build it up. You can lightly tap it in for a little bit more of a lit within. But I love that it's at the drugstore. 2 affordable foundations. So the first is going to be the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator, Bare Focus Tinted Hydrator. So this has hyaluronic acid, some squalene. I have dry skin, but I do get like pop-up acne through here, especially during that time of the month. And I really find that my skin really does like squalene. I feel like that's something that I'm able to use that my skin actually really does enjoy and benefit from. So I really do like that it's in here. This is like so cheap. This is like $3 or $4, like at the drugstore. It's so good. You get almost a full ounce. It's 0.91 fluid ounces, so not quite a full ounce. But I love how this is. It doesn't feel heavy, but it definitely does give you some nice coverage. I feel like this does a really great job of providing some coverage, help giving you a little bit of a glow, and has those really nice skincare properties. So I feel like this was definitely like a really good release and purchase that happened at the drugstore in 2021. So then Undone Beauty. So I got this from Ulta, but you can get this in some Targets. And so this is the Undone Beauty Unfoundation Glow Tint with Skin Loving Coconut Extract, light coverage. I do really like something that's going to be really light coverage on my like no makeup days, or days where maybe I'm just kind of laying around the house and I would just kind of like something light on my face, just because most days I do try to wear some type of makeup. And so I like how light coverage this is. I like how healthy and glowy that my skin looks. It looks just so juicy and healthy and glowy and all the things. I love this. This is so good. I'm pretty sure this was in a Shop My Stash at one point. I would definitely put that in there again. It's so good. Let's just like dab just like a tiny amount out. So here's like a tiny amount. I'm just going to blend it out. As you can tell, the glow. It is so glowy. And so when I'm having those no makeup days, I want my skin to look like I have done a lot of skincare and that my skin doesn't really look like a lot is on it, but instead it just looks glowy and very dewy. And that's what I love about that. And I think, again, that's a really good affordable option that came out in 2021. Last thing for the affordable category before I move into influence. No, just kidding. All right, scratch it out. Next up is going to be from Essence. This is the Shine 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 Wet Look Lip Gloss. Okay, listen. This is so good. It makes your lips look plump and hydrated. And this is so cheap and affordable. I mean, do you see that? It's cheap and affordable. Your lips look plumped and juicy and glowy. I thought I broke the applicator. And glowy, like as you can tell. Let me see if you guys can tell. Like it's down to here. It's like almost halfway gone. That's how much I love this. I tried this out on the recommendation of an influencer. I honestly can't remember who. And I have never looked back. This is so good, especially for a drugstore product. I don't really know that you can necessarily pick this up at the drugstore. I got this from Ulta. I know Essence has a website, but this was like $2.99. $3.99. Like that's such a good price. And I mean, just look at how like plump and juicy my lips look. Like this had to be included in a favorites for 2021. So now let's talk about 4 e.l.f. products that I love. The first step are the first 2 kind of go together, and those are the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer, which I have the lightest one right here, as well as we have the e.l.f. Putty Blush. So one thing that I really love about these is they are very nice and emollient. They are creamy. But I think the thing that I like about them the most is these are so beginner friendly. If you are nervous about trying cream blushes, cream bronzers, anything like that, because you're afraid you're just going to go overboard really quickly, or it's not going to blend out super well, you're not going to experience that with these. This definitely takes some building up. So I'm just going to tap into this with my brush, right? So I've got my brush nice and coated, but like, as you can tell, do you see how light that is? How light that just goes on, and I'm just stippling it and it's blending out so well. Like, obviously the back of my hand is probably about, you know, what I would cover my face with, but do you see how well that just like blends out? It blends beautifully. It's not really overboard, anything like that. This is a great brush. This is the e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush. I really like this for like creams, but it just goes so beautifully, and the blushes are the same. And you know, honestly, I could have like lightly just like dabbled some on here, dabbled some on here, and then dabbled some up here, and then went with the sponge and blended it out. The next two also go hand in hand from e.l.f., and that is the e.l.f. Ultra Precise Brow Pencil, as well as the Wow Brow Volumizing Fiber Gel. These are still in their container because I've basically used up the other ones, and I'm trying to give my other brow products a chance. This is my favorite brow combo of all time. I personally could repurchase these and will keep repurchasing these and just use these, and I would be perfectly happy with that. There are other ones that I do really love and I do really enjoy, but these right here are so good. These are definitely ones to check out. So we're going to move on now into some influencer brands, products that I'm really loving. So first, let's go ahead and let's start with Lunar Beauty. I love almost anything and everything from Lunar Beauty. I just do. But the two things I think that came out this year that I love, like I already love his glosses. I've purchased those before, talked about those. His liquid lipsticks are really good. But I think it was at the very beginning of the year. Maybe. I purchased it at the very beginning of the year. I can't remember if this is exactly when it came out. But this is the Moon Prism Blush Palette. First of all, he kills it with packaging. If you are somebody that really loves good packaging on makeup, you're not going to be disappointed in Lunar Beauty. I also really love the tones and the colors he came out with. I'm really hoping he'll do like a part 2 or 3 where there's going to be some other options. He does have one glowy blush, which is really beautiful. I know he's more of a matte blush kind of a person, so that's kind of why he only did one, because he knows a lot of people do like that glowy type blush. He just doesn't. So I am hoping if he ever does come out with more, there might be some more options. But these are definitely very, very pigmented, as you can tell from like just that swatch. Like, it's definitely pigmented, but you can definitely go in really nice and light-handed. So let's just see. Let's tap into a little bit of this right here. Right, you can just lightly tap it and just like go in with the blush. I just think, oh, he does so good. He does so good with like everything that he really comes out with. Oh, but like this blush palette, to me, is just so standout. It's just, this is definitely like a standout stellar product. I would say if you're definitely wanting a really nice, beautiful blush palette with a lot of different varying options, you've definitely got, you know, you've got the glowy one, you've got some like light pinks, you've got some like neutrals, you've got a little bit of deeper mauves, things like that. I think you're really going to enjoy this. Again, cute packaging, great formula. Okay, last thing from Lunar Beauty. All right, these are $10. These are his little sponges. This is the Liquid Powder Multi-Purpose Beauty Sponge. It's the pink one. I don't know if it's called anything else. I don't know. All right, listen. I bought the black one and the pink one. I have the pink one that I used today. I haven't tried out the black one yet, but I love how soft, how squishy this is, how like reliable this is. It just goes over everything beautifully. You know, doesn't make my makeup look patchy, you know, due to it being, you know, holding water too much or not enough or being too hard or too soft. I think this is perfect. It's $10. On Black Friday, I bought like 10 of these. I took 9. I may have slightly overcommitted. All right, but I love these, especially for the price point, because beauty blenders are, you can get 2 of these for the price of 1 beauty blender, and I don't really think beauty blender can compete with this. So good. All right, so next influencer we're gonna move on to is Jaclyn Cosmetics. So I really didn't purchase a whole lot from her until this year. Probably I would say very beginning-ish of this year. I think this may have been when she started re-releasing. Maybe it was like 2020. But I feel like there were some two really standout collections from her, truthfully. The first one that I love is from the Hot Tropics collection. So you do get some lip oils. I do like her lip oils. I think they're really nice and comfortable, but they're much more expensive than the ColourPop ones. So I didn't really include those. But this bronzer is, again, such a good bronzer. And again, it's not one that like you easily go overboard with, right? Like just look at that. That's beautiful. And it's not quite as orange as the e.l.f. ones. I feel like the e.l.f. ones are definitely a lot more bronze and orange. I feel like this is definitely a little bit more neutral. So in the summer, I really prefer like the e.l.f. ones just because they are definitely more bronze. But I find like I really like this for all year round. So I think she did a great job with these bronzers. Oh my, I was like I couldn't think. She did have a lot of, different options. I can't really recall like how many she had or how deep they went or anything. I honestly can't recall. But as you can tell, it definitely leaves a nice sheen, a nice shine. Definitely has like, some good color options, things like that. So this is definitely like a really good product that she came out with. Next up, she came out with these liquid highlighters. I have the lightest one again. I can't recall how many exactly she came out with, but this is a liquid highlighter. I don't normally usually do a whole lot of liquid highlight, but I have come to love this. So I tried the Dolphin Trend earlier this year. I will link that video down below. And so definitely had like the use of like using some like liquid highlighters. And that's when I kind of really fell in love with it. And I feel like I'm really kind of picky on the liquid highlighters, but this is so beautiful. This is definitely very nice. Icy, doesn't really emphasize a whole lot of my texture. I feel like it's definitely like a very lit from within, beautiful type of glow to the skin. And this is definitely like a really, really good liquid highlighter. As you can tell, this was white at one point. Let me see if I can like wipe it off with like a thing. Like that's how much like I've reached into this. It's just because I love it so much for a liquid highlighter. Like if I'm going in with a liquid highlighter, I'm almost always going in with this. It's so good. So then she came out with this powder highlight. I don't know, it's called a putty highlighter, what it's called. This is in the shade Glazed Out. Again, one of the cheaper ones. One of the lighter ones. And I love the texture of it. I love the creaminess of it. I mean, look at how blinding and in your face that is. I don't have anywhere else to put this on my face, or I would. It's so good. If I want a very nice putty highlighter, I'm definitely going to go into this. Like, as you can tell, like, I've made some progress on this. It's so good. I feel like this whole collection that she came out with was so good. And what I'm really sad about is that it was like a limited edition collection. And I'm like, how are you going to release like these good products, like these chef's kiss mind-blowing products, and then be like, they're limited edition? Like, how are you going to do that to somebody? But I would say if you can get your hands on the Hot Tropics collection, or you own it, then you probably already know, but this was probably one of the best collections that she came out with this year. All right, next up from the Jaclyn collection that I really liked that she came out with this year is her, what is it called? Bougie Romance. So it's like the blush kind of collection. And there are two things that I really love. The first is I love these, what are they called? Cream to powder blush sticks. I love how creamy this is. Like, they're so creamy. They blend out beautifully. They are pigmented, give a beautiful flush of color to the skin. I love how I can use this for a no makeup day, put a little light color on the skin if I wanted, or I can use this and go over the top of it with one of these blushes. This is the Rouge Affair one. This is her cooler toned one. I do have the warmer toned one. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. So I do have the warmer toned one. I think these are really, really good blush palettes. You get a lot of variety. They each come with 6 shades. I think you get a lot of good variety. I own all of these. I mean, these are just so creamy and emollient. And I just love how easy it is to just like put on there and then just stipple out. It's so easy. You can build it up. Obviously, as I did, I've already went in once. Build it up for more color. These such good products. I think this one and the Hot Tropics collection were probably the two of the best collections that she has come out with. So last thing we're going to talk about are some influencers that may have collabed with some brands. So really basically I just have one to talk about that I think was probably like the best of 2021. This came out, I don't know when it was, like maybe like the summer-ish maybe. But that is the Glamlight X Michaela collection. So in her collection, she came out with some like glosses. She came out with some lashes. I have not tried the lashes, so I can't say anything about those. She came out with an eyeshadow palette, and she came out with a highlighter. So first things first, I love the glosses. I still have them in their little packaging. I love how you get like an icy sparkly one, a gold sparkly one, and then definitely a nude lip gloss. And the formula of them are very comfortable. I really do love that. The next is this What's Poppin' highlighter. This is definitely a very like champagne highlighter, like how it has a little mirror. This is very blinding. It is very nice. I'm not going to put this on because literally I have 100 million highlighters, but it's really good. But I think the star of the show for me specifically was this palette. First of all, that's really cute. Like, I really like that. It has Michaela's name that's in like some glitter types of letters. But what I really like is this color story. So you definitely have some like neutrals, you have pops of color. There's just so many different directions that you can definitely go with this palette. And that's one thing that I love. The next thing that I really love about this is like how beautiful those shimmers are. Now, I think these are, she had said, are like a new formula for Glamlight. Everything that she created is a new formula. And I think she did a great job. I think this is definitely one of the best collections that Glamlight came out with in 2021. Granted, they came out with a bunch of other really cute ones, and I think they're great quality as well. But I think for sure, this collection was definitely the best that Glamlight came out with in 2020. All right. Wow. I talked your ears off. I've talked my own ears off. Like, that's saying something. With all of the products that I purchased in 2021 that I loved. These are things that I thought were well worth my money, that I would repurchase again. Things I think are your money. You know, obviously we've added some highlight. We've added some color to the lids. We've added some things to the lips. Like, we've added a lot. And I think these are really great products that I purchased in 2021 that I'm happy with. Definitely my top favorites of the year. Let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know some of your favorite products that you have tried this year. Whatever they may be. Let me know your top favorite products that you have tried this year. If you guys enjoy these types of videos, then definitely give this a thumbs up. This lets me know that you enjoy this type of content so I can do it again next year. This lets YouTube know that you enjoy these types of these types of videos, so they can, what is it called? not review, and it's not request. So they can recommend other videos that are like this. Wow. So make sure you guys have liked this video, commented down below, hit that subscribe button, and click the little bell, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.